Setting deadlines to get things done. I've talked in the past about how important deadlines are to communicate the proper sense of urgency with whoever you're working with so that you're on the same page from a leadership perspective to your direct reports. If I say I want something done quickly, my sense of urgency means I probably want that done today or tomorrow. Someone else's sense of urgency may mean by the end of the week or next week. And so to avoid that confusion and frustration, you set a deadline, you agree upon it, so then you're on the same page, and if there's any negotiation around that deadline, it's done up front, not after you miss a deadline. And so you set the deadline, you agreed to it, you hit it, you don't miss it, and it works so much better that way. But deadlines also create a sense of urgency to get things done. Without a deadline, I found things don't necessarily move as fast or quickly or with the sense of urgency that certainly I like them to do. And recently I've been involved in a couple of different type of deals here at Service Express, and both of them I'd set deadlines on completion for. And interesting, one we got done on a deadline before the end of a month that we were really striving for, and without that deadline, I don't think we would have done the steps that we did that were necessary in order to get that particular deal closed and over the line. And a deadline creates that sense of urgency. Otherwise, you say, oh, we can just let it float to next week. And next week turns into 2 weeks from now, and 2 weeks from now turns into next month, and then turns into a lost deal a lot of times. And so having that sense of urgency and communicating with everybody involved, I feel like really helped drive to get that deal done. On a second instance, we actually didn't hit the deadline. We set a deadline and we were striving for it. It wasn't as much of a time-sensitive situation, but it was one of those things that if we didn't get closed, didn't get over the finish line, again, tends to drag on, and I don't like that. So we set a deadline. We were really striving for that. We missed the deadline, but we got it done just a few days later. And I feel like if we didn't have that deadline set, we wouldn't have got it done a few days later. It'd have lingered out. And I think driving towards trying to hit that deadline enabled us to unearth some issues and some situations and objections that bubbled to the surface. We addressed. It was pretty straightforward, and we were able to do that. But again, without it, sometimes those things don't come up because there's no sense of urgency. There's no reason to let those come up. So I'm a big believer in deadlines in a lot of ways. Of course, the sales background, I always worked on monthly quotas. I basically still do. As CEO here, we have month-end results every month. And so that creates a deadline for us every month, and it's a call to action and a drive to action. So if you don't have them in your life, I really suggest that you get them. It's just a great way to communicate. That's really what it is, to communicate upfront expectations and goals and what you're striving for, and get everybody on the same page and agreeing with that, and you'll get a lot more accomplished along the way. So set those deadlines and let me know how it works out for you.